Tonight we're going to read The Fiddler in Hell. Once there was a peasant who had 3 sons. He lived richly, gathered 2 potfuls of money, and buried 1 pot in the threshing barn and the other under the gate. This peasant died without having told anyone about his money. One day there was a holiday in the village. A fiddler was walking about leisurely when suddenly he fell through the ground and found himself in hell at the very spot where the rich peasant was being tormented. "Good day, my friend," said the fiddler. The peasant answered, "You have fallen into the wrong place. This is hell, and I am in hell." "But, uncle," said the fiddler, "why were you sent here?" "Because of my money. I had a great deal of it, but I never gave to the poor and buried 2 pots of it in the ground. Now I will be tormented, struck with sticks, and lacerated with claws. What shall I do? I might be tormented too," said the fiddler. "Sit on the stove behind the chimney. Do not eat for 3 years. Thus you will be saved." The fiddler hid behind the chimney. The devils came and began to beat the rich peasant, saying all the time, "That's for you, rich man. You hoarded a great deal of money, and you did not know how to hide it. You buried it in such a place that we have a hard time guarding it. There is constant coming and going through the gate. The horses crush our heads with their hooves, and in the threshing barn we are thrashed with flails." As soon as the devils left, the peasant said to the fiddler, "If you ever get out of here, tell my children to take the money. 1 pot is buried under the gate and the other in the threshing barn, and tell them to give it to the poor." Again, a whole band of devils came rushing in and asked the rich peasant, "Why is there a Russian smell here?" The peasant said, "You have just been to Russia, and you have the Russian smell in your nostrils." "Impossible," said the devils. And so they began to search, found the fiddler, and cried, "Ha, ha, ha! A fiddler is here!" They dragged him down from the stove and forced him to play the fiddle. He played for 3 years, but it seemed to him like 3 days. He got tired and said, "How strange! Sometimes I played and tore all my strings in one evening, and now I've played for 3 days, and not 1 string has broken. Blessed be the Lord." He had no sooner said these words than all his strings snapped. "Well, brothers," he said, "you can see for yourselves my strings have broken. I have nothing to play on." "Just wait," said one devil. "I have 2 sets of strings, and I'll bring them to you." The devil ran away and came back with some strings. The fiddler took them, tightened them, and again said, "Blessed be the Lord," when the 2 sets of strings snapped. "No, brothers," he said, "I cannot use your strings. I have some of my own at home. If you let me go, I will bring them here." The devils refused to let him go. "You won't come back," they said, "if you don't trust me," replied the fiddler. "Send one of your number to escort me." So the devils chose one of their company to go with the fiddler. He came to the village and heard a wedding being celebrated in the last house. We have one last sip of choice organic Russian caravan tea with a little almond milk. Let's go to that wedding. Let's. They went into the house. Everyone recognized the fiddler and asked him, "Where have you been for 3 years?" "I was in the other world." They regaled themselves. Then the devil said to the fiddler, "We must go now." The fiddler said, "Wait a little while. Let me play my fiddle and amuse the young couple." They stayed there until the cocks began to crow. Then the devil vanished, and the fiddler said to the rich peasant's sons, "Your father orders you to take his money. 1 pot is buried under the gate, and another in the threshing barn. And he said that you should give it all to the poor." The sons dug up the 2 pots and began to distribute money to the poor. But the more they gave, the more there was in the pots. They put the pots on a crossroads. Whoever passed by took out of them as many coins as his hands could clutch, and still the money in them did not decrease. A petition was sent to the Tsar, saying that in a certain town there was a winding road about 50 versts long, and that a straight road would reduce this distance to about 5 versts. And the Tsar gave orders that a straight bridge be built. A bridge 5 versts long was erected, and this used up all the money contained in the 2 pots. At that time a maiden gave birth to a son and abandoned him. This boy did not eat or drink for 3 years, and an angel of God always accompanied him. The boy came to the bridge and said, "Ah, what a wonderful bridge! May God give the kingdom of heaven to him whose money built it." The Lord heard that prayer and ordered his angels to release the rich peasant from the darkness of hell.